Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing the first Q&A for this week, leading up to The Walking Dead Season 7, Episode 12, Say Yes. And this one we're going to start with giving our thoughts on whether or not we feel like Dwight is redeemable. And spoiler warning if you haven't seen episode 11 yet. By the way, if you also haven't seen my review or my predictions video for episode 12, both will be links in the description, and they're both posted in the channel, so click the channel name. You can watch those after this one. See how I felt about the episode. Maybe leave a comment there on how you felt about it. And then, of course, leave your predictions for what you think is going to happen in next week's episode, episode 12. And to explain for the review, I gave this episode a little bit lower score than usual for episode 11, just kind of how I was feeling about the episode. Now, it could be partially because I don't like Dwight at all, or it could be because I was hoping to see a confrontation between Dwight and Daryl, and we didn't really get to see that. Instead, we kind of got caught up on the Savior side of things. Did like the part at the end, though, where you have kind of the Dr. Carson death and kind of the nice twist there. And some of the things that the episode does really well is it sets us up for more character development for the bad guys, so to speak, the Saviors. It gives Dwight more kind of story, background behind him, and more things happening with him, and really kind of solidifies him as a character and where he's at right now in the series, whereas before he was kind of more questionable. I feel like now it's a lot more certain for him and kind of where he's at. So the question for this one being first, is Dwight redeemable? So after what he's done in this episode now, he's thrown an innocent man under the bus to face a brutal death. He's killed someone else, he's killed before, and he's been cowardly to have to go back to Negan and kind of, return to him like a loyal dog. He's been punished. He's been through a lot. And I personally don't feel sorry for him, almost no matter what happens to him at this point, especially after we just saw what happened to the good doctor. So this one for me is pretty simple. At this point in time, I do not think Dwight is redeemable. And this one also kind of relates back to the whole Daryl-Dwight argument of who is going to be that comic version of Dwight's character. This is kind of spoilery, but I'll just briefly go over it to try to, give you an idea here of where I'm going with this. And that is that in the comic book series, Dwight, he starts out as a villain, 100%. Then it kind of becomes blurred lines, and then he eventually, over time, becomes kind of a good guy / anti-hero, I suppose. In the TV series version, at this time, is Dwight redeemable? Does Dwight have a heart? Can he come back? Can we see him joining the survivors and turning his back on Negan at this point? I personally, after this episode, it wouldn't really work for me in him being redeemable. Like, I cannot feel sorry for Dwight no matter pretty much what happens to him now. If he gets killed, if Daryl captures him and decides to torture him, whatever could happen to him, if Negan decides to kill him, I wouldn't feel bad for Dwight, really, after what he did with the doctor here, and, what he's done prior for Negan and him returning to Negan of his own accord. Had he have been forced to return to Negan and not come back on his own, I would feel differently about him. But no, he went back to Negan, and he went along with what Sherry decided to do, and we saw how that all turned out. So right now, I like Dwight even less than I did before, and I would say at this point, I don't see him as redeemable, and I don't see any way they could have it make sense where they could have him, join the survivors and become like a anti-hero or almost a good guy. I just can't see that, at this time. I feel like after this decision that he's made in episode 11, this really solidifies him for me as a villain. I don't know if that's what they were trying to do with this episode. I almost feel like with this episode, they were trying to kind of make it more blurry, more complicated for Dwight and kind of make us feel somewhat sorry for him, but yet see he's cold. I don't really feel sorry for him in this case. Even the scene where you have, him and he's sitting, he's got the picture in that of Sherry and himself and the voiceover from her. Even she doesn't trust him. Even she doesn't give him the chance, right, of seeing her and the two of them being reunited. Even she views him as Negan's lapdog now, so she's not even going to give him a chance, and that's her husband, right? So interesting stuff, and that is one of the best things about this episode, and what episode 11 does is it really gives us a little bit more with the Dwight, Sherry, Negan type of thing that was going on there and what's going to happen with the characters. So I personally see it as like, I think Daryl's going to fill that position. I think that's something we've predicted in a lot of videos over the last few years, is that you couldn't maybe have both, and that maybe Daryl will kind of fill those shoes and kind of be that type of character that we need. Because if Dwight flops now, it's kind of like, well, he didn't go after. I wouldn't like it. I mean, he's wishy-washy, yeah, but at the same time, it's kind of like, I don't know, man. If you're willing to do that kind of stuff, regardless, even if you were to help the survivors, you're still a villain to me anyway. But you guys can write your comments below. Let me know what you think of Dwight's decisions here in this episode. And, he does lie about Sherry. But then again, he felt like he had to, because it wasn't like he was going to be able to find her. It seemed like there's pretty much no way he was going to be able to locate her and bring her back. So, yeah, write your comments below. Let me know what you guys think. Is Dwight redeemable? I say no. I don't think he pretty much ever is at this point. He'd have to kill Negan, I think, in order to be redeemable. It'd have to be something that, big. And obviously to the Doctor, he would never be, because of what he did to him, killing him and everything, setting him up, backstabbing him, so to speak. Stuart Gowdy says, all right, what's going on, Trev? Stuart back again here to bring you another question. In this one, I'll be asking, do you think we will see, or do you think we'll be seeing Sherry again? And what do you think will happen when Negan finds out that she's alive? So if Negan finds out she's alive, yeah, Dwight may have to escape. But that would, or get out of there if that is the case. But again, that would just be him trying to save his own skin, and that still wouldn't redeem him in the eyes of the viewers, at least not for me. So Dwight's in a weird position. He's in a position now in terms of the story and as a character where I can't relate to him anymore. I can't feel, he just seems like he's totally brainwashed and totally like, in this kind of nasty state where he's in violation of his values and even his wife's values before. In other words, to make it simple, he's a loser. That's that's it. He's a loser. There it is. But if he finds out, then yeah, Dwight would have to escape to save his own skin, because Negan would know what he did, and also Negan might question, like, okay, was he telling the truth about the Doctor? Did I kill the Doctor when I didn't need to and I could have kept him? Did I kill an innocent man because of what Dwight said? Negan would be super pissed if he does find that out, which he probably eventually will, I would think. Yeah. 360 Spartan says, Trev, do you think it's a big possibility that Daryl could run into Sherry? And yeah, I like that one. I think that would be good. And also the possibility that maybe these characters, Sherry, Dwight, are different than their comic book counterparts, and that they're going to take them in different directions, which actually I do want to see, because I see Dwight on a different trajectory than on a trajectory which would lead him to joining the survivors and becoming kind of a good guy. I see him going the other way with what's been happening so far. Maybe that's just me. Maybe other people see him differently, but that's the way I see him. So I'd like to see Sherry go a different way too. I'd like to see Sherry maybe turn into a good guy in this case and maybe help out the survivors as best she can. Either that, or maybe she could disappear for a while and come back into the story later on if she just flees and then kind of never comes back. But I would like to see them use Sherry and have her maybe join the survivors in some way. Also because it'd be a nice remix from the comics, so it wouldn't be so similar as for us to know, all the details of what's going to happen just based on the comics. Which I do like too, and I feel like maybe the last couple of years they've been a little bit too close to the comics in a lot of ways. NeddyTheNoodle says, it would be so funny if Eugene ends up becoming Dwight's replacement and Dwight leaves to join Alexandria secretly. I don't know. I don't know if I would like that. Like I said, I'm not sure if that's... I don't know if that's natural. I don't know if that's within character or if that's just contrived to match the comic story. I think at that point it might be. The Doctor's death was completely unnecessary, says Shadow Man. Well, it gave the episode a hook. It gave it something there that would have made it even more dry. So at least you had one character death. You had something happening. You had someone paying consequences for what happened with Daryl's escape. And it makes you feel bad for him, and it also makes Dwight feel even more of a villain. It makes Dwight an even better villain, if that's what they're going for, which I don't see how it couldn't be unless they're just kind of confused over what they want to do. I don't know. Lords Shinnok, I guess we'll see what happens. If they end up trying to make Dwight a good guy after all this, then I think they were just confused and they didn't know what they were doing. Because to me, it's going the other way. Lord Shinnok says, hey, Trev, do you think Sherry and Daryl will run into each other? And do you think they'll hook up at some point? So, yeah, I think that would be really cool. And, if she became a good guy and she hooked up with Daryl because she did help him escape, then I think that would be really cool to see. And I think she could be redeemed as a character. But at this point, I don't think Dwight can be. Mike3IZG says, Trev, can you believe IGN reviewers said Negan is getting too predictable and boring, laughing my Lmfao. He literally threw his doctor in a furnace. Is that really predictable and boring? I think they've lost it. So that's what Mike3IZG had to say. For me, I don't think Negan is getting predictable. You're right. I thought that was unpredictable. I thought him throwing the doctor in the fire was something he wouldn't do because he's a doctor. And I'm thinking like, okay, he's valuable. Yes, there is another doctor at the hilltop. But it's not like there's just doctors walking around everywhere. I mean, even if you have two doctors, they might be your two most important people, because if you have 100 people or 200 people, it's probably a good idea to have a couple doctors. It's probably not a bad thing to have, in case something happens to one if they get older. A lot of doctors are older than that. It's not a bad thing to have another one just in case. So he kind of killed him without having the other one right there. Maybe he'll go and get Dr. Carson, the other Dr. Carson, his brother from the hilltop. But still, you lose a doctor. They're useful, man. Doctors are useful. And it's not like doctors are just easy to find out there in the zombie apocalypse at this point. They're not. I mean, the amount of people that get an MD is very, very, very low percentage of the population. So I don't think what Negan did was predictable. And I don't think Negan is the reason why I found the episode a little bit dry. I think it's because, it's bottled up. It focuses on them. And, of course, with Walking Dead, I'm used to seeing the other characters. I love seeing Daryl. I love seeing Rick. I love seeing what's going on with them and what's happening. And I guess I don't know if the episode, it was necessary 100% to see everything we saw in the episode. For Eugene, yeah, it does add to Eugene. It sets him up as possibly like him betraying the group and helping out the Saviors and becoming a Savior, which is kind of fun. I like the jacket and stuff at the end. That's kind of a nice gimmicky change for him. And he's a fearsome character when you think about his intellect and the things he can figure out. So for that, it's good. For Negan, I thought it was, he did what he had to do. But maybe for me, it's just because I don't really like Dwight so much. It's maybe the reason why I didn't enjoy the episode as much as sometimes I do. I don't like to see Dwight anchor episodes because I don't like Dwight. So that's why, because of what he's done and, all the reasons I just said. Prick Grimes says, Negan is funny and sometimes a little annoying, but when he's mad, he's effing terrifying. And I do have to agree with that. When he is angry and, when you have the doctor and you have the fire and stuff, it's an intense scene, man, because you don't know what's going to happen, you don't know what he's going to do. And that was really good. And I thought it was really scary. Definitely something to fear for the doctor and, for Eugene as he's watching. Is he going to look? Is he going to hide away from it? And, yeah, man, it was. And also it shows at the end with the kind of test for Eugene, whether or not he's going to help them with the pills. After seeing that, he decides, no way. Dante Taj says, do you think Sherry will take on the role of Dwight in the comics and join Rick and the survivors? I like to see it, Dante. Absolutely, I would like to see that. And, if that is what they do, then I like this episode more because it got us in a good direction that I wanted to see things go. I'm just so not sure right now what they're going to do with Sherry and Dwight and which side Dwight is going to be on and stay on. At this point, I can't see him turn against Negan. And if he does, I'm going to feel like it's not natural. It doesn't feel right after everything he's already done. He would have had an opportunity there to turn against Negan when he was out and decide, okay, I'm just going to track down my wife no matter what, and we're never going back. If I find her, I'm not going to hurt her. I'm not going to do anything. We're not going back, period. So would she trust him? I don't know ever if she would, but maybe over time, if he stays out there long enough and he decides he's done with the Saviors, I would respect him more if he decided to do something like that and try. So Adam Ford said Eugene was awesome in this episode, though. Yeah, he was. He was pretty good in this episode. But, it's going to be hard for Eugene to carry a whole episode. I don't think he's a A-list carry type character. But this episode helped for that, I think. Last one will be, I think this was one of the best episodes of the season. I don't know of the season. I don't know what you're talking about, Trev. From Ralphie, Sif, Arito. Well, you know, everybody's entitled to their opinion. If you like to see The Sanctuary, then maybe you enjoyed it a lot. I personally like to see Rick. Would have loved to see an interaction or face-off between Dwight and Daryl. But that's kind of more my taste and kind of what I like. However, there is some really good potential, from, as we've just discussed, from this, and what we could see with Sherry, what we could see with Dwight, what they're going to decide to do. If maybe Daryl can get his revenge on Dwight and kill Dwight off at the end of the season or something, then I like the episode much more, and it changes the way this episode is. Episode by itself for me was, you know, like I said, just a little bit dry because we didn't get to see all these other things that I thought could have been really cool to see. Instead, we got kind of caught up. We got to see Eugene living there and stuff, which is okay. You know, the drama's good, but I like to see a little bit more with the story advancing a little more quickly and a little more things happening than what we saw in this episode. Just me. I certainly wouldn't say I think it's one of the best of the season. I wouldn't say it's better than the premiere, episode 1. I wouldn't say it's better than episode 7. I wouldn't say it's better than episode 8, episode 9, or episode 10. Some of the others in the middle there are debatable. You could say maybe, depends on what you like. But, you know, for me personally, it's definitely not one of the best of the season for me. That'll be it for today's video, guys. If you liked it, please don't forget to thumb it up below. Write your comments. What do you think about the characters and the route that they're going to go on? Do you think it's going to be the same as in the comics, or do you think we're going to see kind of a remix version, which is what I'm hoping for? Write those comments. I really want to see what you guys think. Thumb it up, share, favorite, and if you're new and you want to subscribe at the bottom left. That's it for this video, guys. We'll see you again soon for another. Trev, saying peace. Later, guys. See you soon. What do you want us to do? I don't know, viewer. How about a subscription? Do you think that might be in order? Or is that too much to ask?